good for a control deck. I'm going to take my control deck and switch in Colossus.
Right.
The problem is, when you say draw one fewer card in your opening hand, that changes the math of everything about how your deck, how the curve functions, how you need to build a standard curve of turn 1 plays and turn 2 plays to have consistent gameplay. George is the kind of person that fully understands this, though. He did a lot of math on every slot in his deck for card draw. He understands the possibilities of what happens with discard, what happens with all these other options. And he knows how his curve needs to function. And he also loves Smuggle. So he understands that, oh, you discard him? Okay, cool. I'm going to play cards out of my resource row. He plays cards that you may think are suboptimal cards, but because they have Smuggle, they basically redraw a card. And he really utilizes the extra 5 health from this Colossus really well. So this is the kind of matchup that he wants to see as well. So in my opinion, Tyler's got his work cut out for him. George wants to beat Jango's with this list, so I want to see how this matchup plays out.
You can really see it on the starting turn. 3-2 in space, 2 underworld units for George, immediately killing the 3-2 before another unit could be deployed to soak damage.
Yeah, and we see the McClunky here. So McClunky itself is an underworld card, so it lets him kill the 4 health unit. This deck is really good at handling small boards that go wide, as well as a decent number of boards that try to go tall.
It's another nice thing about the shield on this crafty. You can use it to attack into something, turn it to your hand with McClunky, and redeploy it.
Yeah. And I told George before this match started, I didn't know if I wanted to put him on the feature match because I don't know if I want everyone else trying to play this Cad Bane Colossus deck. I don't want to have to play against it more.
The other thing about feature matches with George is he gets a little playful.
He
changes his play lines.
He loves his wild lines on stream.
Yeah,
when he knows he's on stream, he goes for the crazy plays, which is also a reason to put him on stream. It's pretty funny.
Like bouncing his DJ and playing it over and over. Just, all kinds of things.
Yeah, so here he gets to give the Ruthless Raider, I believe it's -3 attack, and also gets to ping it. So now it only attacks for 1. Yeah, so you see only the 1 damage on base because that is a card with Smuggle, the spaceship, that if you control an underworld unit, you get to give a unit -3 for the phase. So really good against your TDRs and sneak attacks where they're trying to get in damage right now.
It's a good example of one of those cards that a lot of players would look at and consider it suboptimal. But it has Smuggle, it has function here, and it's doing its job.
If a lot of these cards said draw a card when you played them, they would see a lot of play.
People
but the fact that it
excited.
says Smuggle, it's a little bit more sneaky way of saying draw a card.
Draw half a card.
Yeah. Because it gives you more options in your hand. You just get to put that card down, you know you've made your resource decision, and then you get to play it even if you have no cards in hand. Power of the Dark Side coming in to kill the Jango leader. I would say George is pretty happy with his spot right now. We see Tyler has a Devastator in hand. You can never count Jango out. I certainly don't want to insinuate that this Jango deck can't win. Jango can beat anything at any time. But
he's really close to that Magic 12, for example.
Yeah, but I mean, the 12 isn't the number against George because he's got a 35 health base. You got to get the 22 against George.
Yeah, he's on 12. Oh, man.
Yeah, so we see that, but also I think George is at the point now where he's going to be able to turn the corner and start putting Tyler on the back foot.
Difference between 12 and 22?
Yeah.
That is huge.
Roughly 10.
Just about. Just about. The strict difference.
So Tyler could sneak Devastator if he does have a sneak. So he could sneak Devastator this turn. I think the question he's asking himself is how much does that do? Does he need the Devastator fully out? He might not be able to afford to have the Devastator die this turn. So it could just be a sneak attack, or a surprise strike into an IG 2000 and make it so that the sneak Devastator next turn gets you closer, or just the hard cast Devastator. So Tyler's really got some decisions to make here. With how far behind is he? How much damage can he pump in? Because he could very likely get in 13 damage this turn with the Sneak Devastator, but is that even enough? He might need to do more than that. He might need to do something like kill the Crafty Smuggler and only do 11 to base. I think he needs to not play the Devastator, not sneak the Devastator this turn, try to pump in extra damage the other way and see how close he can get.
Yeah, that base health difference in when bases only have 25 health on them, you can like overcommit and just throw your cards into dealing damage to it. But here, if you do that, you run out of options, run out of cards. You might still be 10 away from killing him.
Yeah. So I think he is going to go for the Devastator this turn because he didn't surprise strike the Ruthless Raider. So that makes me think that he wanted to get in the attack before it dies, and now he might do the Sneak Sneak Devastator we see here. There's a lot of damage facing him down, so he did all 4 to base.
George has.
So he's going to be able to get George to 28 if he attacks, but he doesn't get to attack because of the no good to me dead here. So yeah, George with the answers.
Another great card against sneak attack. You just exhaust it, a lot of the value is gone.
Yeah, there are a lot of exhaust options that people like, and then Long Pike from Smuggle. So now the Devastator dies to the sneak attack, and now George is exactly where he wants to be. He's going to be able to get Tyler into lethal this turn. And while the damage on base is tied, the health remaining is not.
Yeah. When you set yourself up for racing and you have a Colossus versus a 25 base, it is so hard.
Yeah, you compare, Colossus to the 30 HP bases, and you say, it's only 5 more damage.
They have the same damage on base.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the same damage on base, but not so. Another Sneak Devastator. So actually, this might be able to get Tyler there. So this gets George to 22. He has the blaster, so he has the 1-action lethal to be able to get there. So yeah, Tyler tried his best on that one. I think we saw the power of the 35 health there really coming in clutch. Yeah. And I think George just understanding what this Jango can do, understanding what he has to play around and how much damage they can deal at a time. He knows what cards he has to keep in his hand. So I think really well played by both players. I think Tyler did everything that he could there. I like the lines that he took. Understanding, especially with that maybe is out with Sneak Devastator into Sneak Devastator, which is what he had. George just had the answers. So I think Tyler did what he could there to play to win.
Actually, both the other match also coming to conclusion at the same time. You can switch to it.
The other feature match is shuffling up.
So I believe Frank just lost game 1. So the other match is between Frank, Myers, and whose opponent is
Blaine. His opponent is Blaine.
Okay.
Yeah, so Han Blue versus Sabine Yellow is our backup feature match. They are also in sideboarding.
I did see the board state right before this, and Frank had a lot of units on the board, but also a lot of damage on his base and very little on Han's base. So I'm pretty sure Frank lost that.
Yeah, notably you can tell that Frank likes his Sabine Yellow because he bought the Twin Suns deck pod just to get the Hyperfoil yellow base.
You can play foils if they're bases and leaders pretty easily.
Yeah.
They're allowed to curl a little bit when they're just laying on the table.
I don't call them curled. I prefer to call them self-standing.
Self-standing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Little tents.
Yeah, I don't know much about... I don't know anything about this Han Blue list specifically, or how Han Blue is getting played. That was game 2. They're putting everything away, so maybe that was game 2.
Did they just play 2 super fast games?
Alright, so it turns out in this feature match there was a concession. So we're going to go back to our main feature match, they're starting up game 2 right now. Alright, so we are coming here to the start of game 2 between GeorgetheHulk and Tyler, aka Dark, from McClunky Gaming. We saw George take game 1. For those asking in chat, our understanding is there was some kind of non-game related personal matter that needed to be dealt with. So we're going back to our main. So both of these players are 4-1 in this matchup. So this is very critical. I don't believe any X2s are going to make it. So whoever wins this match between George and Tyler also will have to win the next round to make it into the top 8. They are both very live, though.
There we go. Got it.
So yeah, here we go. We see the Gorilla Soldier. This is I really like this Gorilla Soldier in Jango. Just getting 5 damage on George's base early. We saw Tyler get pretty close last game, and starting with something like this where he gets he gets in some damage and a unit on base early is a better start for him than last game, I think, where we saw George just murder his turn 1 and 2 play without taking extra damage.
That early damage is really important here. You got to add up to 35 somehow.
Yeah. Oh, we see the Long Pike from hand from George. This has been an interesting. I think this is the first card he's played this game on 4 resources. So not the best start from George. So let's see if Tyler can seize on this opening in what seems like a bit of a stumble from the CAD deck. It looks like we see 2 electromagnetic pulses in George's hand. So we've got a lot of sideboard cards in hand. So George may have said, I can take the early damage and I'll be able to come back with these extra cards. Not sure what he resourced.
We also missed if he mulliganed, I think.
True, yeah, no, he may have just mulliganed into Unplayable turn 1 and 2s, which would be very unlucky for him because I know his decks have very high percentage plays.
It's definitely something he focuses a lot on, but once you take that mulligan, you've eaten up a lot of that percentage.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we see a lot is people either keeping an average hand and then not drawing anything, or mulliganing an average hand into an unplayable hand. Both of those are big risks with this game. You see the IG 2000 come down, and especially there are some really interesting risky lines that George could take here. You could always shield the IG 2000 if you want to keep your Long Pike alive, which looks like that's what George is going to do. So basically he's saying, I'm going to be able to kill this IG-2000 without damage. So you can have a shield. I'm going to keep my Long Pike around.
It's a really common play in these decks that have targeted removal that doesn't care about shields.
Yeah. Not sure what unit that was that Tyler played. It looks like it has 2 health, though. Oh, it's a Kylo's TIE Silencer. So Kylo's TIE Silencer gets killed. So now Tyler's opened back up for Power of the Dark Side, which I think is what George wants to do. Tyler, realizing that is what George wants to do, immediately plays another unit. So now George has to kill this Boba before he can power the dark side away this IG-2000.
He might just fire it off. Killing the Boba is still okay. You can start hitting base with your
I think he does, because also it lets you draw into a second power the dark side. But Tyler with a really good read there that George, the main reason to shield that is because George wants to play power the dark side. So Tyler playing around that really well.
Yeah, just trying to make sure he gets his damage in. And he gets to keep his ship instead of his Boba, because he could have attacked with the ship, lost it to power, and then played the Boba. So he's decided, I would rather have this shielded ship.
Yeah, which I totally agree with. I think you definitely would rather have the shielded ship than the Boba unit. So Tyler currently in the lead in terms of health remaining on base, so that's exciting.
He got there.
And second shield. So George now really affirming that, okay, when we get there, we're getting there with with a removal spell, not with damage. Already up to 16 damage on base. Almost halfway there.
He's going to be able to finish off the Jango, but he's not putting any pressure on his opponent's base. So racing could become difficult here. Which isn't terribly surprising. We saw how slow his start was. Played his first card on 4 resources. Looks like a Ruthless Raider to me. know, the glare in this portion of the screen can be a little challenging.
Yeah, it's kind of the lighting is a little bit tricky. That we didn't have the most choices with how to deal with it, so we're working through it.
Yep. What was that?
It was triple dark rated in.
What Underworld card got played to... Well, that wasn't an Underworld card. There's 1 damage on the Ruthless Raider. I missed what that was.
Yes, I'm not sure where that 1 damage came from either. So also with CAD deployed, it would be 2 damage.
Right, exactly. That's why I'm like, where did 1 come from?
We see Jetpack. I think it was triple dark rated in, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
There's a McClunky. Oh, it's a capture card. Okay,
yeah,
so we
yeah.
use Bounty Hunter's Quarry, I believe, to capture the IG 2000 and shield the Cad Bane.
Relentless Pursuit.
Relentless Pursuit. That's the one. Relentless Pursuit to capture any unit. So Relentless Pursuit notably can cross arenas.
Yeah, JPC, I was wondering if it was Electromagnetic Pulse and he just put 1 damage instead of 2. I guess that's what happened.
Yeah, I think that's what
it
it
was. It
was.
does do 2 damage.
We were trying to figure out why it was 1 damage and not 2. But yeah, but 1 versus 2 damage doesn't really matter when the card was triple dark rated. Either way, it's going to bounce back to hand. So
Corey's saying base should be at 22.
that I have no idea about. I was focused on damaged units.
Yeah. See if it comes up.
So 27 damage. George really getting. He's in. I mean, he's in Devastator range with something like a Sneak Devastator.
Right. We're past the magic number of 22.
Yeah.
Not 12.
Yeah. So we'll see here if he goes base. I think I like going base here. You've got to start getting some damage in. And he can still kill Jango with the Long Pike if he needs to. Or if Tyler does something that taps it, then he can claim. All
right, Kel's saying base does actually look fine.
Okay, yeah, because I saw a Surprise Strike go to the bin
Yeah.
while we were figuring out the damage. So yeah, that makes sense to me as well.
It looks like, was that a Ruthless Raider? So she
Yeah,
had
Ruthless Raider.
2 more damage on the Lom.
Or you can pop the shield on the cat. I think you do 2 to the Lom. Oh, what? Sorry, yeah, you do 2 to the Lom if you don't want to get hit in the face because it taps it.
It's already exhausted. So
Another
I think
Relentless Pursuit.
It's meant to have taken that too.
So second shield on Cad, second card captured by Cad. This Cad is relentlessly pursuing relentlessly. The Kylo's TIE Silencer coming out for Tyler.
We did miss 2 damage on that, right? I think so.
That is possible.
Okay.
I was looking at
Silencer.
shieldy things and trying to figure out which cards were which.
Yeah. 27. We can hear the players talking a little bit. They're chatting it up.
Yeah, he did not take the Raider damage to base.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both of the Ruthless Raider triggers were not done.
Well, the Lom got exhausted. That's what's weird. Just didn't put the damage. Just gonna ask the players real quick.
We're going to double check with the players. These are both high level players and also both friendly guys. We're trying to figure out what if we miss something or if they miss something. So that's what the players are discussing now, if they remembered the Raider damage or not. Okay, so we got there that they missed the damage on both the unit and the base. So we got the exhausted Long Pike, and now we got the damage numbers accurate.
We're actually really close to the players. We're in a little office right next to the feature match table.
Yeah.
Players looked at their written notes and agreed that base damage was missed.
Yeah.
And that the damage on the unit was missed.
We see here the War Jug coming in, so CAD down to 1 shield.
Shield's almost down.
War Jug's still 7 power right now, so still a big threat.
You guys are good.
All right, we see Supreme Leader Snoke coming out for George. Sorry about the silence there. Dealing with some issues on our side, but we got there. So Snoke coming out, really big impact on the War Jug. So now down to 5 power on the War Jug. So War Jug can't trade with Snoke, but another ping would let it. So pretty close here. Oh, we got the Devastator. So Tyler was able to get there in game 2. So really good job. We saw the big difference there in game 2. The fact that he was able to get damage on base early. We saw the Gorilla Soldier. We saw George not play on anything on the first couple of turns. So really letting Tyler get out to that bigger head start than he got in game 1. Let him get there and let him get the reach. So really interested to go to this game 3.
The slow start from George, all that early damage on base.
Yeah.
So he like, you've got that 10 health that you got to cover. He covered it real quickly.
He did, and we saw other like good plays from Tyler where he realized that George needed to get the power of the dark side out, so he was able to keep his IG 2000 alive, get in some extra damage with that. Like every little bit of damage added up until he just needed the Devastator at the end to get in the last few.
He's got to be scared though. The first game was really tough. This was a big stumble from George.
Mm-hmm.
This is still an uphill battle to take this game 3, in my opinion, which I think for viewers is exciting because we're talking a lot about Jango being a menace. What are we going to do about this deck? George seems to be handling it just fine.
I will say this to the viewers. Every George the Hulk deck comes with a user advisory warning.
Right.
There is a deeper level of understanding that usually needs to happen. That the decks that George makes are not usually decks that people just pick up and pilot well.
Not sure, Phil. We were dealing with some stuff on our end. It was hard to keep up with the match at that time. We'll see what happens this game 3.
Yeah.
Maybe other viewers can chime in. This did seem like what Phil's saying is correct. Did we miss lethal? I think George is 4-1 going into
Yeah,
this,
but
right?
both these players are 4-1.
Yeah.
And so now we're going into game 3, 1-1, the scoreline for this match. Yeah, I think Philip was missing that the Devastator, when played, is what killed George. He didn't need to attack with it.
Okay. He had 4 remaining.
Yeah.
All right, so what's this start?
Cloud Rider with no ambush, but that's fine. Still gets the ping in. Into power. Ooh, Gorilla Soldier here. I'd imagine George is going to put 3 on his base and then kill it with the Cloud Rider. Yeah. So
that's still
Gorilla Soldier. I mean, still getting in 3 base.
Lot.
Yeah, 3 to base and kill George's unit. Yeah.
Yeah. What an impressive card all weekend.
Yep.
We're gonna see a lot more.
I've been a big fan of that card ever since before the set released.
Mm-hmm. The 2/3 body looks really unassuming, but the 3 indirect is a lot at that stage of the game in particular.
Yeah, especially on turn 2. It's usually either you kill your turn 1 play or you give me 5 damage to your base is usually what that card turns into.
Right. Just a lot.
Mm-hmm. Bazine coming in for George. What do we got here? We got Triple Dark Raid, Boba, and Crafty. So I'd imagine Triple Dark Raid going down.
Yeah.
Into Devastator draw from Tyler. I would imagine he's going to hold on to that Devastator. It's been really important. Usually you don't want to hold on to him this early, but I think in a matchup like this, you just have to keep all of your reach damage that you've got.
Yeah.
You can't afford to resource that.
Right. There's that 10 health you got to get across. And a Bazine here isn't the strongest play, but clearing out a TDR might set him up.
Yeah, absolutely.
To have the clunky lines for Tyler.
I see what you did there.
Deliberating resourcing here.
Also, I don't think it's fair that George gets to use the card McClunky against Tyler from McClunky Gaming. I think there should be an exception there. You can't. You're not allowed to use McClunky against McClunky.
Maybe Tyler's really proud of George for playing.
That's
McClunky.
Maybe it's just honorary McClunky.
Maybe
There goes McClunky.
Yep.
We see it there.
They're talking.
I believe the players are making the same joke.
You can hear it from the table. McClunky. All right, so 4 resources remaining for George. We'll see what Tyler looks to deploy.
We also probably get to see him if he wants to. We could play the Bazine out again. I don't think you need to when you see the Crafty because you're not worried about a Triple Dark Raid this turn. But I would imagine next turn George is going to lead on that Bazine to make sure there's not something like a sneak attack or a Triple Dark Raid coming.
We're also trying to get some stuff on the board.
Yeah, Tyler doing a good
keep
job.
Things cleaned up.
Yeah, Tyler doing a good job filling up the board this turn. He's looking to get some more. I think this turn and next turn are going to be the big pivotal ones. If Tyler can get enough damage on George's base to make him nervous and make him have to constantly answer threats, then he's going to be in a good spot. But if George can easily handle this board state, which doesn't look like he can on board, but we'll see. This deck can do some crazy things. But this turn and next turn I think are going to be the pivotal ones of how much damage can Tyler stack on.
I don't see like a surprise strike or something like that to clear out the Jango leader from George, so it's going to be hard for him to flip his CAD.
Yeah.
I think we'll see how it plays out, but I think it's going to be hard for him to flip his CAD and get some value this turn from it.
He could do something like, I think I see a Power of the Dark Side, so we could do something like Lompike into the Crafty Smuggler. You could shield the Boba unit and your Lompike, because when you play the Power, they're most likely going to want to kill their Boba unit anyway, so you make them choose between the leader or the shielded unit to kill. Make them choose what action they want to take next. Do they want to attack first? Do they want to get in, get their events off? Because also Tyler knows that George has this Bazine in hand. So if Tyler has something like a Triple Dark Raid, which he does, he may want to do that first. So I think there are a lot of options here and a lot of really interesting sequencing decisions for both players because of the knowledge that they have. Like Tyler knows about this Bazine. It got McClunky back to hand. George knows that Triple Dark Raid is at least a possibility. And so yeah, we do see that. We don't see the shield, which I think is also fine.
So if he shielded it, it would die to the Boba attack for free. Boba would have a shield, it would attack Lom, hit it for 6 because of Boba's ability.
Yeah. Oh, he's a 4/6. For some reason, I thought he was a 4/5. So yeah, he still died. He still dies to Boba even with the shield. So yeah, not.
I wasn't gonna interrupt your stream.
No,
yeah,
I always for some reason I always understat Long Pike in my head. I don't know why. I always think he's lower stats than he is.
So here, so you don't get the attack from the leader, but we do get a 2 damage paying for whatever Underworld card he plays this turn.
Yeah.
This would be the reason to flip that now.
Yeah, well, he flipped into the immediate attack from the IG, and there's Covert Strength, so heal and XP. So now he doesn't die to the trigger from Boba.
Right.
And Tyler going to base, so about valuing the damage on base, we did see that he has a triple dark raid in hand, so I think we know that he understands that even though he could get the extra 3 damage on the Long Pike, it's not worth missing out on this damage to base, just trying to add up numbers. Then we see what I think is a Kylo's tie. It was a 2-drop spaceship.
I don't think this is the position George wants to be in. There's a lot of units on the board. Not a lot of ways to handle them right now.
I don't see something like a Super Laser Blast in hand. We do see Pike Sentinel. Can help stem the bleeding on the ground for an action.
I think I see Electromagnetic Pulse.
I really like Tyler's position right now. I think he's in a good spot. He's got a wide board. Looks like this is going to take out the Jango. Is he going to do shield shenanigans? He is, which I think I agree with. You're already not in space, so...
Yeah, figuring out the math for killing Jango would be a reason to make the healing play last turn as well. Get that 1 experience.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Four resources. You said you saw a triple dark raid in Tyler's hand?
I thought so. I was fairly certain.
George may try to leave Pulse up.
I think he will.
Deal with that. Another relentless
pursuit to capture a unit.
Should
Kylo's tie going in for 3.
Should get a shield on him at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, Cad Bane should be shielded. I don't know if that's optional either from the Relentless Pursuit.
Let's look it up.
Because obviously we don't remind any players about optional triggers.
No, it's not optional.
Okay. Oh, he got it. He remembered. He put it on as you're walking out there. Yeah.
They saw me walking up, and I just did a 2 thumbs up. I saw the shield. I was like, "Oh, you got it."
Yeah, we see Ruthless Raider come out from Tyler.
Should not have taken 1 damage from a Boba.
I think he took more total because the players are writing numbers down as well, because I think he took 1 from the Boba and then 5 from the Kylo's tie. So overall, I'm pretty sure the damage is correct. I think they just adjusted the dice in a less usual manner.
Yeah, I mean the players are using paper as well, so it might look strange to us on stream.
Yeah, the dice is just for our benefit. So George with a really good play there. No glory only results, taking the Ruthless Raider and killing it, and then the Ruthless Raider death trigger kills the Kylo's tie.
I love it. I'm loving No Glory right now. I mean, 5 is still a lot to spend, but it makes K2 a lot less threatening. It's really good against these Raiders.
Yeah.
$28, so 7 away from being able to close out the game for Tyler.
Yeah. George has some options in hand, though. He's keeping the electromagnetic pulse to be insulated from something like a sneak attack devastator. And I think the damage is going to start adding up pretty quickly for Tyler. So he needs to close this game out pretty soon. He's still in a decent spot, but that window's going to close. I don't know exactly what's in there. We see the devastator. He's at 7, right? Yeah, so he has to sneak the Devastator. So he gets in the 4 damage. But we know there's an electromagnetic pulse that's going to stop it from getting there all the way.
And then, what was that?
But George is at 31, so another Devastator would kill George with the Wind Played. He gets the Sentinel to protect from the Boba attack. So basically, Tyler is in give me another Devastator mode. And it goes back to, we saw this one Devastator in hand 4 or 5 turns ago, and we said he can't afford to resource it. He agreed, and he played it here. So that gives him more outs. That's a Bib Fortuna, not an out. Boba, not an out.
17. 8 damage to kill him. We've got 6 on the Lom.
So does he have a way to kill this Pike Sentinel?
I thought the base health was wrong. He just fixed it.
Yeah, they fixed it. It looked like it was one short from Devastator, but they got there.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to the players are tracking in paper. The dice is just for our benefit on the stream, so sometimes it can take them a bit to update it correctly.
Oh, is that 8?
That's a blaster.
That's 8.
That's game. So yeah, George Hudson takes it down.